Singer Bob Marley, his reggae music known far beyond its roots in Jamaica, died in a Miami hospital today after a long battle against cancer.
To them time used to have fat stamina.
Yes.
And plenty of them type of people, so.
On May 11th, 1981, the world lost one of its greatest icons, Bob Marley.
Stand up for your rights. Did you hear? Get up, stand up. Stand up for your rights.
But did you know that his final days were as intense and meaningful as his music? Today, we're going to explore the last moments of Marley's life, a man whose music transcended time, struggle, and pain.
My life is only important if me can help plenty people. If my life is just me, my own security, then I don't want it. My life is for people.
In this video, we will delve into the final days of Bob Marley, an icon whose music continues to inspire generations. From his cancer diagnosis to his last concerts, we will discover how Marley kept fighting until the end, both for his life and for his legacy. What thoughts crossed the mind of the man who gave us No Woman, No Cry in his final moments? Join us as we uncover the moments that defined this reggae genius, from his personal struggle to his eternal impact. Early years. On February 6, 1945, in the heart of 9 Mile, a small rural village in Jamaica, one of the most iconic figures in global music was born, Robert Nesta Marley. But before becoming the global icon we know today, his life was marked by humble beginnings, a mixed identity, and a family history that seemed destined for greatness. Bob Marley was born into a complex context. His mother, Cedella Malcolm, was an 18-year-old woman, and his father, Norville Sinclair Marley, was a white British man who was never present in Bob's life. This mix of races and cultures formed a breeding ground for the unique identity that Marley would forge. In addition to his Jamaican heritage, Marley claimed to have English and Syrian Jewish ancestry, which added a layer of mystery to his identity. In his youth, Bob faced the social stigma still present in Jamaica due to his mixed race, something that would define much of his life. From a young age, Marley experienced the difficulties that people of his race faced in Jamaican society. This struggle to belong, to find his place in the world, became a driving force that propelled him to create music that would transcend borders, speaking of oppression and the desire for unity. Musical career. Bob Marley's musical journey began on the streets of 9 Mile, Jamaica, alongside his childhood friend Neville Livingston, who would later become known as Bunny Wailer. In their youth, both shared a love for music, and in the afternoons they played together, sowing the first seeds of what would later become a musical revolution. During their time at the Stephanie Primary and Secondary Schools, the foundation of their friendship and future musical career was built through hours spent singing and composing. When Bob Marley was 12 years old, his life took a significant turn when he moved to Trenchtown, Kingston. There, together with Bunny Wailer and other friends, he came into contact with a new musical reality, marked by the rise of ska and the influence of R&B music from American radio stations. The sound of these songs naturally blended into Jamaica's musical landscape, and Marley began experimenting with his voice, developing a unique style that would resonate not only in Jamaica, but around the world. In Trenchtown, the friendship with Bunny Wailer evolved into a musical partnership that led to the formation of several vocal groups, initially known as the Teenagers, later as the Wailing Rude Boys, and eventually adopting the definitive name, the Wailing Wailers. Although they initially didn't play instruments, their focus was on vocal harmony, which allowed them to create a fresh and captivating sound. It was in this environment that they met Joe Higgs, a member of the popular vocal duo Higgs and Wilson, who lived nearby. Seeing the potential in the young musicians, Higgs offered his support and encouraged them to refine their vocal skills. He was the one who taught Bob to play guitar and helped the Wailers improve their music. Thanks to this boost, the young musicians began to evolve, and their sound became more solid, professional, and increasingly in tune with the street vibrations and the spirit of resistance that characterized Trenchtown. In these early years, Bob Marley and his band had no idea that their musical partnership, forged in the yards of Trenchtown, would become a springboard to a global legacy. What began as a simple passion for music in the humble neighborhoods of Kingston would transform into a platform for Marley to not only change reggae music, but also influence entire generations of young people with his message of unity, freedom, and resistance. Rise to fame. In 1962, Bob Marley took his first significant steps in the music world by entering the Federal Studios in Jamaica. There, he recorded 4 songs that would mark the beginning of his professional career: Judge Not, One Cup of Coffee, Do You Still Love Me, and Terror. Under the production of the renowned Leslie Kong, 3 of these songs were released to the public via the Beverly label, while One Cup of Coffee was released under the pseudonym Bobby Martell. However, this first attempt did not achieve the success that Bob and his band had hoped for, but it laid the foundation for what would come. In 1963, Marley formed a band initially called The Teenagers, alongside his inseparable friend Bunny Wailer and other musicians such as Peter Tosh, Junior Braithwaite, Beverly Kelso, and Cherry Smith. Although the band's name changed several times, starting as The Teenagers, then The Wailing Rude Boys, and finally settling as The Wailing Wailers, it was this last name that would mark their history. However, the true key to their success came when they were discovered by producer Coxsone Dodd, who signed them and made them known as the Wailers. The breakthrough for the band came in 1964 when their single Simmer Down became a huge hit in the Jamaican music industry, reaching #1 and selling over 70,000 copies. This success catapulted the Wailers to the top of the local music scene. During these years, they established themselves as one of Jamaica's most prominent bands, regularly performing at the famous Studio One and collaborating with renowned artists such as guitarist Ernest Ranglin, keyboardist Jackie Mittoo, and saxophonist Roland Alfonso. However, the band began to suffer internal changes. In 1966, Braithwaite, Kelso, and Smith decided to leave the band, leaving Bob Marley, Bunny Wailer, and Peter Tosh as the core trio of the Wailers, solidifying a formation that would be crucial for the future of reggae. The real turning point in Bob Marley's career came in 1972 when he moved to London. It was there that the Wailers secured a contract with CBS Records and began working with soul singer Johnny Nash, who opened doors to the international market for them. Chris Blackwell, the head of Island Records, saw the potential in Marley as a rebellious icon and offered them £4,000 up front to record an album. Blackwell believed that Marley and his music could attract a rock audience, a different demographic from reggae's traditional followers. The result of this deal was Catch a Fire, an album recorded at Harry J Studios in Kingston. This album had a very different sound from traditional reggae, and Blackwell chose to modify some of Marley's mixes and arrangements to create a more hypnotic atmosphere, bringing it closer to rock style. Catch a Fire was globally released in April 1973, designed to appeal to rock lovers, and although it initially sold only 14,000 copies, it was critically acclaimed, highlighting Marley and the Wailers' innovative style. The success of Catch a Fire was just the beginning. At the end of 1973, the Wailers released Burnin', an album that included the famous song I Shot the Sheriff. Eric Clapton's rendition of this song became a massive hit in the United States in 1974, marking an important milestone in Bob Marley's international expansion. Burnin' struck the perfect balance between reggae fans and rock fans, broadening Marley's audience and solidifying his status as a global artist. Despite the challenges and changes in sound, Bob Marley uniquely blended reggae with other genres, which catapulted him to worldwide fame. His music began to cross borders, bringing his message of resistance, love, and unity to every corner of the planet. Career and challenges. As Bob Marley and his band began to gain international recognition, the support of Chris Blackwell, the head of Island Records, played a crucial role in their success. Blackwell not only signed the Wailers, but also gave them a home in Kingston, where they established the famous Tough Gong Studios, a space that would become the hub for their music and the evolution of their sound. However, despite Blackwell's support, things were not easy for Marley and his band. In 1974, the Wailers embarked on their first tour of the United States, planning to perform 17 shows. But to everyone's surprise, they were dismissed after only 4 concerts. The reason for their dismissal was simple, yet revealing. Fans began focusing more on the opening act than the headliners for whom the Wailers were performing. This unexpected turn in their career highlighted the power of Bob Marley's presence and charisma, as he was already starting to stand out as a star in his own right. The dissolution of the Wailers in 1974 was not the end for Bob Marley, but the beginning of a new chapter. Marley, along with Bunny Wailer and Peter Tosh, decided to pursue solo careers, but Bob did not fall behind. He continued to make music, this time with a new band he named Bob Marley and the Wailers. The new group included talented musicians such as Brothers Carlton and Aston Barrett, who handled the drums and bass, Junior Marvin and Al Anderson, who played the lead guitars, Tyrone Downey and Earl W. Lindo, responsible for keyboards and percussion, and Alvin Seco Patterson, who added additional rhythms. The sound was completed by powerful backing vocals from Judy Mowat, Marcia Griffiths, and Bob's wife, Rita Marley. The formation of Bob Marley and the Wailers led to a greater expansion of his music, blending elements of reggae, rock, and soul with his unmistakable message of freedom and resistance. One of the most significant moments of this phase was the release of his live album, Live, in 1975, which contained the iconic version of No Woman, No Cry. This album became a turning point, not only because it cemented Marley as a giant of global music, but also because it introduced his music to a wider audience, outside of Jamaica and beyond traditional reggae. The success of Live was just the prelude to what was to come. In 1976, Bob Marley released Rastaman Vibration, an album that solidified his status as a worldwide star. This work not only received critical acclaim, but also managed to reach the top 50 of the Billboard Soul charts in the United States, an important achievement for a reggae artist at the time. Rastaman Vibration marked a decisive moment in his career, taking Bob Marley beyond the boundaries of reggae and turning him into an influential figure in global music. Despite his growing success, Marley was not without challenges. Political and social tensions in Jamaica, his personal battle with illness, and the pressures of stardom began to affect him. However, even in the most difficult times, his music continued to be a beacon of hope, resistance, and unity for millions of people around the world. Assassination, Attempt, and Resilience. On December 3, 1976, Bob Marley's fate almost took a tragic turn. 2 days before his highly anticipated Smile Jamaica concert, organized by Jamaican Prime Minister Michael Manley to ease political tensions on the island, Marley experienced a terrifying event that could have ended his life and career. In the middle of the night, a group of armed men broke into his home, shooting indiscriminately. Bob, his wife Rita, and his manager Don Taylor were all hit by the bullets. The situation was so dire that many believed that would be the day the legendary Jamaican musician would die. Despite the severity of the attack, fate seemed to have other plans. Bob Marley, although injured, suffered only minor wounds to his chest and arm. What happened next surprised everyone. Instead of yielding to fear and pain, Bob Marley made a decision that would further seal his legacy of resilience. Rather than cancel the event, 2 days later he performed at the Smile Jamaica concert for 80,000 people. While some of the original members of the Wailers could not attend for safety reasons, the support of the Marley family, especially his son Ziggy and his band allowed the show to go on. Marley, with unwavering courage and determination, took the stage, bleeding but refusing to let fear overpower him. That night, his message was stronger than ever. Music cannot be silenced. He performed like a wounded warrior, but invincible, demonstrating that not even an assassination attempt could break his commitment to his art and his people. The Smile Jamaica event was not just a concert, it was a symbol of resistance. Through adversity, Bob Marley sent a powerful message of unity, strength, and the fight for peace. It was a moment when Marley's music stopped being just entertainment and became a catalyst for social change. The way he faced this assassination attempt with courage that resonated with his audience and beyond further cemented his status as a global icon. For Marley, every challenge, every battle only reinforced the importance of his message. Unity is stronger than fear, and love is the answer to adversity. This act of resilience not only elevated Bob Marley as a musical legend, but also as a symbol of cultural and political resistance. His ability to move forward in such dark times made his voice even louder, inspiring generations to fight for justice, peace, and unity. Exile and continued success. At the end of 1976, Bob Marley made the difficult decision to move to England, a self-imposed exile that would mark a period of retreat and, at the same time, a stage of great inspiration. After a month of rest and recording at Compass Point Studios in Nassau, Bahamas, Marley settled in London, where he spent almost 2 years away from his beloved Jamaica. Far from falling into passivity, Bob used this time to create and release 2 of his most influential albums, Exodus and Kaya. Exodus, released in 1977, became a massive commercial and critical success. The album spent 56 weeks on the UK album charts and produced several singles that reached #1 in the UK, such as Exodus, Waiting in Vain, Jamming, and the anthem One Love, a song that fused Curtis Mayfield's inspiration from his classic People Get Ready. This work further consolidated Marley as a global figure, capable of transcending genres and borders with his message of love and unity. Despite his success, the years in England were not without difficulties. In 1977, Marley was arrested for possession of a small amount of illegal substances, a setback that, although temporary, did not diminish his determination. Despite this incident, his music continued to resonate worldwide, transforming into a medium for social change and cultural cohesion. Marley's return to Jamaica in 1978 was a key moment in his life and career. Upon his return, he not only performed, but also participated in an event that would become historic in his country, the One Love Peace Concert. This event was not just a show, but Marley's attempt to be an agent of change in his homeland, uniting a people divided by political tensions. In a powerful gesture of unity, Bob Marley invited rival political leaders Michael Manley and Edward Seeger to join him on stage. In a powerful display of unity, the 2 politicians shook hands while Marley sang One Love, symbolizing possible peace through the power of music. This moment not only strengthened Marley's image as a peace leader, but also solidified his place as a transcendent figure in the history of music and politics. His music, now more than ever, became an instrument of unity and hope, a bridge between the social and political divisions in his country. Political and spiritual commitment. In 1979, Bob Marley released Survival, a deeply political album that reflected his stance on the fight against oppression and social injustice. With songs like Zimbabwe, Africa Unite, Wake Up and Live, and the title track Survival, Marley sent a clear and powerful message about the freedom and unity of Africa. This work resonated not only with African descendants and those seeking social justice, but also reaffirmed Marley's commitment to the African cause. At a pivotal moment in history, when the continent was fighting to free itself from colonization and oppression, Marley used his music as a platform to speak out for the oppressed. This political commitment was not limited to his lyrics. His actions spoke even louder. Marley was a vocal opponent of apartheid in South Africa, a racist and segregational system that was in place until the early 1990s. His song, War, released in 1976, became an anthem against racial injustice. In July 1979, he took another step by performing at the Amandla Festival in Boston, an event designed to raise funds and awareness about the fight against apartheid, demonstrating his solidarity with movements fighting for the liberation of African peoples. As the 1980s approached, Marley released his final studio album, Uprising, a work that marked a perfect closure to his career. In this album, Marley incorporated spiritual and religious themes that reflected his growing connection to Rastafarianism. Uprising solidified his legacy as an artist whose message transcended music, becoming a way of life that continues to inspire millions today. One of the highlights of this period was his participation in the celebrations of Zimbabwe's Independence Day on April 17, 1980. This performance was not only a milestone in his career, but also a symbolic act of support for Zimbabwe's struggle for independence from British rule. There, in a newly liberated country, Marley gave a concert that resonated with the spirit of unity and freedom that he had always championed through his music. Personal life and Rita Marley's legacy. Bob Marley and Rita Marley married on February 10, 1966, in Kingston, Jamaica. Throughout their life together, Rita played a key role in her husband's career, both personally and professionally. The couple had 3 biological children, and Bob also adopted 2 of Rita's children from previous relationships, forming a united family that reflected the solidarity Bob promoted in his songs. Bob Marley's legacy was not just his music, but was also carried forward through his family, especially by Rita, who was a vital part of his life. Rita was a founding member of the I-Threes, the influential vocal group that accompanied Bob Marley and the Wailers on their tours and recordings. With her unique voice, she was an integral part of Marley's sound, and her contributions were evident in rock-steady songs like Time for Everything, as well as in classic tracks with the Wailers like One More Chance and That Ain't Right. In the early years of his career, Rita also collaborated in duets with Marley, such as the song Bless You, which appeared on the album Lovers and Friends. To preserve her husband's legacy, Rita Marley took a crucial step in 1986 by turning their home into the Bob Marley Museum. This space has allowed fans from all over the world to learn more about Bob's life, music, and message, ensuring that his influence remained alive for future generations. But her work did not stop there. Rita founded several institutions to continue her husband's work, including the Bob Marley Foundation, the Bob Marley Trust, and the Bob Marley Group of Companies. In 2000, she also created the Rita Marley Foundation, a non-profit organization that fights poverty and hunger in developing countries, focusing especially on young people and the elderly. For her impact, Rita was honored with several awards, such as the Order of Distinction from the Jamaican government in 1996 and the Marcus Garvey Lifetime Achievement Award in 2010. Her legacy also transcended borders, as she was declared an honorary citizen of Ghana in 2013 for her contributions to the country, in addition to receiving honorary degrees from the University of the West Indies and the University of Fort Hare in South Africa. Rita has not only been a cultural influence, but also a pillar in solidifying Bob Marley's global legacy. Passion for soccer was one of Bob Marley's greatest passions, a love that accompanied him throughout his life and reflected in every corner of his existence. For Marley, soccer was more than just a pastime. It was a way of life. He was often seen playing in parking lots, on makeshift fields, or even inside recording studios, where the sound of the ball hitting the pavement would blend with the music he loved. This connection between soccer and music was no accident, as both represented for Marley a way to connect with others and live in the moment. His love for soccer was not limited to local fields. He was also a fervent supporter of the Brazilian team Santos FC, primarily due to his admiration for the star Pelé. Additionally, Marley felt a connection to the English football club Tottenham Hotspur, largely because of the signing of Argentine midfielder Ardal Agaric in 1978. Marley did not just watch soccer from the stands, but immersed himself in the culture of the sport, making it an integral part of his life. Soccer also played an important role in his inner circle. In the 1970s, Marley hired Jamaican international footballer Alan Skepta Cole as his tour manager, highlighting the importance of the sport in forming personal and professional bonds. Bob Marley, always with his signature dreadlocks, remarked in an interview, "If you want to know me, you'll have to play football against me and the Wailers." This phrase reflected how soccer for him was not just a game, but a cultural bridge that brought people together, a form of connection beyond borders, where fun and friendship prevailed over any difference. Illness and death. 1977 marked a tragic turn in Bob Marley's life when, in July, he was diagnosed with malignant melanoma on the big toe of his right foot. Although this type of cancer typically affects areas exposed to the sun, Marley's melanoma was located in a less common area, under the nail of his toe. Despite medical recommendations to amputate the toe, Marley refused the surgery for religious reasons, opting instead for a less invasive treatment that involved removing the nail and undergoing a skin graft. Although his health began to deteriorate, Marley continued with his career, and in 1980, while battling the illness, he released the successful album Uprising, which included songs like Could You Be Loved and Redemption Song. His final tour took him to Europe and the United States, where he performed memorable concerts, including at Madison Square Garden in New York. However, during this tour, Marley collapsed in Central Park, leading doctors to confirm that the cancer had spread to his brain, lungs, and liver. Bob Marley performed his last concert on September 23, 1980, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. After the event, his health rapidly declined, and following attempts at alternative treatments in Germany, he was taken to Miami, where he passed away on May 11, 1981, at the age of 36. His last words were addressed to his son, Ziggy. "Amazing, take you up on your way up. Don't let me down on your way down." On May 21, 1981, Jamaica held a state funeral for him, bringing together his people to honor his tireless and revolutionary figure. Bob Marley was buried in his hometown 9 Mile, with symbolic items such as his guitar and an open Bible on Psalm 23. Awards and recognitions. Throughout his life, and especially after his death, Bob Marley received numerous awards and honors that reflected the magnitude of his musical and cultural impact. In 1976, Rolling Stone recognized him as Band of the Year, which propelled his international career. This recognition was just the beginning of a series of awards that defined his legacy. In 1978, the United Nations awarded him the Third World Peace Medal, highlighting his ability to use music as a vehicle for political and social messages. In 1981, just months before his death, Marley received the Order of Jamaican Merit, the highest honor in his native country. International recognition soon followed. In 1994, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, cementing his status as a global music icon. In 1991, Time magazine declared that his album Exodus was the album of the century. In 2001, Hollywood awarded him a star on the Walk of Fame, and the following year, the Grammy Awards honored him with the Lifetime Achievement Award, celebrating his vital contribution to music. In 2004, Bob Marley was among the first artists inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame, recognizing his impact not only in Jamaica, but around the world. The tribute to his life and work continued to grow over time. In 2006, the city of New York named a section of Church Avenue in Brooklyn Bob Marley Boulevard, and in 2008, a statue was erected in his honor in Batki Soch, Serbia, as a symbol of his global influence. Marley left a mark that goes beyond music. His message of peace, unity, and the fight against oppression resonated with communities around the world, including tribes in the United States, such as the Hopi and Havasupai, who found echoes of their own struggles in his songs. Bob Marley's legacy is alive today, beyond his music. His ability to transcend borders, his social and political activism, and his philosophy of life based on love, peace, and unity continue to inspire millions. Though his life was short, his influence is immortal. Bob Marley not only revolutionized reggae, but also became a global figure who united different cultures and generations. His story is a testament to resilience, passion, and the power of music to change the world. We hope you have enjoyed this journey through Bob Marley's life. See you in the next video.